So, heartily welcome to our panel session, Digital Innovation, Implementing the Digital Shift. So, digital innovation, that's part of the the conference themes. Before we start with the discussion, we want to present a video with selected scenes of several interviews the group did in the last months. So, let's start the video.
And I was really interested in technology. I actually was 5 years old. I don't care about things. And then when I noticed that music was happening in technology around, it was just like, okay, I want to know how it works.
We had to create a new world during the pandemic. During the period where we had to switch to remote desktops, we had to switch to distance learning, and we had nothing, more or less. So during this time, it was completely entering a new world. We had a lot of dynamic. A shift of mindset in terms of digitalization.
Que c'est déjà partir de l'existant et d'arriver à faire du commun sur nos outils informatiques. Et ça, c'est déjà une grande difficulté d'arriver à s'entendre sur des outils communs.
We have reserved some resources for transformation, but more for defining processes than to implement it. So the resources are for assessment, for training, and also for building a better digital environment.
It's a big challenge for some of our members, and they need a lot of not only support. It's creating the mindset that part of their job is to take over a part of the responsibility of this new processes that are digital.
Moi, je me sens seul. Parler d'informatique, bien sûr, c'est extrêmement compliqué parce que les gens, c'est très technique, donc personne n'a l'autorité pour pouvoir répondre à ces questions. Et ce qui permettrait d'en faire plus, ou d'en faire moins, c'est que j'ai des collègues informaticiens et informaticiennes. C'est-à-dire que les structures puissent avoir les moyens d'embaucher ces postes-là.
Imaginez qu'il y ait des enseignants qui soient nativement créés en ligne ou transposés en ligne, et donc on a recruté un ingénieur pédagogique notamment pour accompagner les enseignants dans cette transition et cette nouvelle conception. Comment former nos étudiants à l'image, à la fois les ingénieurs du son évidemment, mais aussi les interprètes et aussi les créateurs, quelle nouvelle narration pouvait naître de ces nouveaux médias. Et donc une vraie préoccupation sur comment on forme l'ensemble des professions qui sont au sein du conservatoire à la place des sons et la place de l'image.
Another point, of course, that of course now musicians is no more like 15 years ago. Now musicians, they have to dedicate, let's say, 70% to music and art and of course all things concerning the instrument, but then 30% managing the professional things. It means relations, it means visual identity, it means social media, it means the planning, everything concerning their promotion. So, in a way, I think that this is the school, the university, the academy could help giving them some skills before graduating.
And the students, they feel very digital, but they are not as digital as we are thinking they are. They are digital in social media, but we should help them to go further. The upper knowledge they have and to think digitally in musical aspects. So we have a large room to improve.
But just like it just shows that if you want to do it, you can know exactly where to go. For students, you know what they have to learn, and obviously some of them know things by themselves. I didn't know much of it by myself. But you always can do something else, and the fact that like these groups know that and try to adapt because when they want to do it, it's that they want to adapt to all the types of students that can come here. It's definitely something that is like amazing.
Les étudiants ont énormément de travail, c'est-à-dire qu'ils ont quand même, on veut à la fois faire neuf et refondre des choses, mais sans forcément rien mettre de côté de ce qui existait avant. On a plus du mal avec les changements, je trouve. Alors il ne s'agit pas de tabula rasa, d'envoyer balmaguer au service des cultures électroniques ou du digital, toutes ces choses-là.
And how can we encourage people not to be scared to embrace innovation, to embrace technology, and to use it for their use?
Well, starting people already have cell phone where you can record yourself and keep a little diary of your creative process. Maybe play 3 to 5 minutes a day without any plan. List down to 2 weeks. Write down what every thought was. Maybe that's okay idea. And then you're process. It's as easy as that.
This is our new performance laboratory. Now this builds on over a decade of work that we've done at the Royal College of Music and in the Center for Performance Science of developing performance simulation as a way for musicians and performers of all kinds to transition from the places where they practice and where they learn, and where they rehearse, to the places where they perform, to audiences, to judges, whatever that might be. The stage lights come up, and the audience quietly takes their seats. And as we walk up the stage, we receive our applause.
Voilà, on se rend compte qu'à la fois c'est un super outil, c'est incroyable, que ça peut pousser à des choses artistiques qui sont très très chouettes. Je pense que de toute façon ça ne remplacera pas, clairement l'outil ne remplacera pas l'artiste, c'est-à-dire que c'est un nouvel outil comme le jour où on s'arrête à atteindre son doigt pour peindre son étoile, ça n'a pas fait des mondes peints.
We will not be substituted by artificial intelligence. We will be substituted from a human being who knows how to use artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence will always need the human being.
Please add some hard words. I'm like newly introduced. I've been doing 7 years, 6 years of masters, like eventually master's students in Belgium, in composition. I have no idea how words express. I don't know. I have no idea. If it wasn't just by myself, I wouldn't like go and check on Google. If I'm going here, I don't exactly know the tools and software. It's pretty easy to just have like basics of compressors. Yes, please buy some hardware, buy some licenses for your students. Like I beg you, I'm begging compressors in high school, music in high school. Just like. Yeah, just even the minimum amount of money to give your students what they need and what the industry sees here.
So this is applause to everybody who contributes to these videos. Some are here in the room. Based on these videos, I want to emphasize our shared goal. to generate concrete practical insights rather than engage a philosophical debate. We focus on exploring digital possibilities that can inspire and nurture a culture of curiosity and competence developed, as well as drive cultural change within our institutions. We would like to examine how have your attitudes or approaches to implementing the digital shift been influenced by the post-COVID landscape, especially in light of new technologies and the challenges presented by artificial intelligence. Digitalization is not a new story or topic. We are now in 2024. We want to talk about this moment in the future. What is the next step? And therefore, I'm really excited that we have been able to win these wonderful speakers for this panel session. Martina Delluniversità from Padova, Núria Sempere from the ESMUC in Barcelona, Colomina from Madrid, Thom, who's also part of the group from the Royal College in London. And I have the honor to moderate this session on behalf of our team from the ARTEMIS working group Digitalization, chaired by Sandrine, and the other members, I think they're also here. That's Enric, also from the ESMUC, and Mimi, our student's voice, and Thom is sitting here, and Håkon from Oslo. I'm Philipp Ahner, I'm from Trossingen University of Music. In the group, we decided to start this discussion with statements of our speakers. So, technology evolves rapidly while institutions tend to adapt at a lower pace. Currently, what are you doing? What are you contributing relating to technologies in your professional life or in your study life? While technology advances quickly, institutions often take more time to catch up. What position does it put you in? And we want to start with the student's voice.
Hello to everyone. I'm Martina, as Philipp said. I'm a chamber music student and I play the piano. I am part of the student representative system of my institution. In particular, I'm part of the academic board. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here and to be a representation for the student voice. So, coming back to the question, I think that for a student, technology is something that we meet, that we face by crossing the path we have between the study and academic world to the professional world, because I think we feel like we have a big gap between the study world, in which we usually don't have resources or even courses about digitization. But right after this moment, we are in a world that is filled with technology, and so we need, for example, to make recordings for auditions or to self-promoting. We need to have a website to enter in contact with people to promote ourselves. Yeah. So sometimes, as students, are like go further, and in their study life, they try to engage to study on their own these things, but usually we don't have resources to do that on our own. So this is my experience.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Núria. I'm the director of the Escola Superior de Música de Catalunya, and I am not an expert on digitation, but yet I am totally committed to
start with the transformation of an institution that from the very beginning have the possibility to put the digital competencies of the students from the very beginning, from all the students. That's something we have from 25 years ago, it's true. But beside that, the institution is not really a digital institution. So if we think in infrastructure or accessibility, we are not ready. If we think in teaching and learning activities, if we avoid those subjects, technologically oriented, not really. Inside of this, how is the digital competencies of the teachers? How are the digital competencies of the students? How is the communication or the research? What tools do we have? So in this, we in the ESMUC start first of all asking, some of you had been asked, how are you dealing with the transformation? So the benchmarking is the first step from my point of view to start knowing, because we are all very small institutions. How many students do we have? 1,000, 2,000 students? What's that compare to those institutions that have 10,000 students connected with other institutions that have other 10,000 that really can scale policies, tools. So that's the first. So ask for lobby, that's a question. And second, to ask, why do we want to be more digital? And that's a question we have answered. And the first is, okay, let's face some problems. The well-being of the people. In our school, we realize that we are managing 30 platforms, different platforms for different purposes. To reserve rooms, to put the schedule of the teacher, to put the marks, to keep the material for students, to, yeah, I can continue till 30. So how difficult is to keep the skills to manage that? So we started to see if the other, I asked 11 institutions, as I've said, some of you are here, how are you dealing with that? And we all have more or less the same problem. Also managing. Most of us, we are managers. We have to improve the well-being of people. And digital environment can help us to just work in what have added value. Think on the admin people. I'm sure that in ESMUC is not the only place where people is copying from one Excel to another, same data that sometimes is missed, of course. So how to really have people working because are people and not machines because they have an admin work. So this is the other one. Third, the transparency for the students, the schedule of the teachers. How difficult it is for us that the 250 teachers says what time Bernat Vivancos has the lesson for Pau Vallès that is in front of here. How difficult? Probably they do the class same day, same time, same room. It's clear, if I look at the room, I can see if Bernat is there. But why not to have the schedule? I don't ask, but how many of you really know what is happening in every? But not just to know, to protect the students if they don't get there. Because I think I am not the only one that sometimes realized that somebody didn't come. No? And also, continuous protecting the students, the records. How consistent are those records? in an online environment. Or communication with the professional platforms. How many of you has the WhatsApp as a way of communicating with your teacher? And how many institutions have said WhatsApp is not an institutional platform to agree what time do we put the new lesson that has changed day because I have a concert? Because maybe we can talk later. What about the identity of our colleagues? Are their identity a teaching identity, or are their identity an artistic identity? And how to conciliate both? Because it's true, we want you because you are a great artist, but we want you because your great artisticness, maybe don't understand the word, is very good for our students to learn. So how this secondary identity is affecting our, and how digital environment can help on that, no? Or chamber music. We just start with very small project to make more transparent the assignment of the groups and make more clear for everyone what's possible to have. I am sure that if we speak about that, thinking on, okay, yeah, okay. Maybe, yeah, and somebody is telling me to get, okay, we can continue later in the next conversation, sorry.
Thank you, Núria. I'm also Colomina, I'm the Dean at Reina Sofia. I'm about to continue because I agree quite a lot with what you're saying. I mean, one of the things that I would like to start with is, we talk about, you were talking about mentioning how we actually have small institutions and it's so difficult to scale, it's so difficult to have access to other faculties and other departments that will provide expertise that then can be combined to generate, inter departments, or in this case, inter schools, or electronics or engineering and programming and so on, together with other parts of a bigger campus. I'm not sure, but I think I represent probably one of the smallest schools within a very small school environment. So I think we have about 140 students. So so we're tiny. So most of my challenges and in a way also the opportunities come from that setup. We focus primarily on high-level, high-end performance, which is at this moment mostly analog still. So in our school that has been the tradition, that has been the identity, and we are slowly moving to implement other aspects into that. But where we have been actually quite a leading force in the last sort of 30 years is in actually bringing the impact. So we have a double-edged sort of mission. One is, to train and develop very talented, young musicians with great potential, but also to bring music out into the community. So most of what we have done technologically has been actually to open up access to music and to do things that will open up music to the community. In fact, the project which we are coordinating at the moment, which is DISC, with the Musica University and Tartu universities, and DAX, a partner from Spain as well. It's aimed to actually bring digital skills. It's almost like a framework learning. So, a bit of a catalog of things and resources, and where people and teachers is basically digital skills for music teachers, but also for alumni and for young graduates and so on. So we have found that was a very, very good way of actually opening this up to a wider community. At school, we have something called Canal Escuela, like school channel, which is a dedicated platform that stores thousands of hours of masterclasses and concerts and lessons and so on. And it has 3.2 million views or visitors per year. So we are very happy that something that started a long time ago has got that sort of reach and impact. We also do immersive experiences around the Madrid area. We bring sort of virtual reality experiences for children, reaching a few thousand every year. So in that respect, we have got that sort of passion for using technology to open music to the community. We also have, and we were talking about the recordings, we have a platform that can record most lessons and records every concert, and the students can go straight away up to the library, access that, download it, use it for their own YouTube or whatever, social media and so on. We are also at the moment piloting, this very exciting, piloting a new sort of low latency platform that will allow us to do almost, I hope, be a pretty good real-time experience with using not specific devices and using the 5G connection, not via cable, as a way of, because of our own identity and what we do, to actually use the technology to actually help our students keep in touch as chamber groups, accompanists and so on, not just for lessons but also for rehearsals. So because of all of that, and I will just pass on to Thom in a second, I think that we have focused on, because we are such a small community, on actually thinking of the use of technology, as I said, for the community, but also for our own extended community, for alumni, which then they make about 800. So a lot of these things we are actually also beginning to offer as non-accredited courses to our alumni community, so that we can have that bigger reach, and also because at different points of the musicians and life, people need different things. And lots of people now in the 30s or 40s, so on, they never had access to any of this while they were in their studies, and they really need the support of the institutions to actually support the ongoing actualization as professionals, and I think that that's very important. So being very tiny, we're starting from the outside to the inside.
Hello, my name's Thom Gilbert. I'm the Digital Learning Manager at the Royal College of Music in London. To answer the first part of that question about what are we doing and what am I doing, I think those are slightly different in some respects. We're quite digitally mature, actually, as institutions go, and we have some pretty high-level work going on, like the performance simulator you saw in the video, and we do a lot of broadcast streaming. We have quite mature use of systems like virtual learning environments and media servers and that kind of thing. So there's some quite high-level work going on. My role, and what I'm personally interested in, is how does that very kind of high-level work, how does that actually affect the day-to-day experience of students, and how do I translate those investments and that work into something that makes meaningful difference to our students on a day-to-day basis? So that's where I see my role as coming into that. So we, for example, are doing some work similarly with some low-latency technology, which the aspiration is that student can come in, plug in, and be ready to go in 10 minutes, and needing no support, these kind of things. And those are the things that really interest me. As far as the second part of the question, about how fast technology changes and what position that puts me in, it does complicate life that technology moves very quickly. But actually, to me, the answer is reasonably simple. Technology does move very, very fast. We all know that, and we won't slow it down. But I don't believe that institutional values or objectives move that fast. And to me, quite often, as people might refer to me as the expert in the room, I can get asked, what should we be doing with technology? What should I care about? What matters? And for me, that's the wrong question. The question should be, you're the specialist, here are our aspirations, here are our objectives. What role does technology play in getting us there? So I really hope that we can sometimes see digitization as a compartmentalized issue. And for me, before I joined the college, I was a classroom teacher, and I see very much really my skills and my knowledge is really about pedagogy. The technology is separate. Really, it's not a compartmentalized issue that we think about in isolation. For me, the digital is a matter of literacy. It's a matter of ensuring that students are leaving an institution able to function in the world as we see it and reflecting that profession. So while the technology moves quickly, it does, a sort of key message from me would be, just because we are now panicking about AI, it doesn't mean that all the things that we were thinking about in 2020 and prior have gone away and that we should get distracted from them. The values and the objectives should not change. We just have to roll and function in the change in technology with those considerations.
Thank you so much. Martina, when you have a look to what we have heard, how do you engage with digital artistry, and what do you feel students miss in their studies regarding digital technologies?
Okay, so this might sound a little bit cheesy or philosophical, but in general, I think art has not like right or wrong mean of expression, as long as it is true and expresses something to other people. So I'm really okay, and I think this is the general thought. We are like used to seeing a lot of concerts on YouTube or listen to music on Spotify, so it's quite normal and accepted. On the other question, okay, I think there are, so what do we miss with technology in our study institutions? I think there are two levels. There is like a basic level concerning with making the learning process more efficient. So it starts from systems for like reserving practice rooms, efficient systems to enroll on the courses, or to make easier bureaucracy when we enroll to a new course. Then at a higher level, we have something that can help us, as I said before, to enter the professional world. So some teaching on how to actually do something with technology and art and to put those together. And yeah, I would like to quote as a sentence, well, a word that I heard at the past Congress concerning technology, which is the word co-pilot. I think this is really a right word, because usually, also concerning AI, it is seen something that steals us an identity or replaces something, but we should more see it as something that helps us to be also more efficient and more creative. So it's a matter of shifting the perspective, I think. Oh, yeah.
Compiled. Maybe that's one of the keywords in our discussion. Thank you for this inspiring thoughts and perspectives. So let's start with our discussion. Concretely, what are the specific challenges for you in your current position in your institution concerning digital technologies? Maybe with a view on annexes or fears around it, but also with other perspectives. So, who wants to start?
Probably I started with challenges in the previous intervention, but to stress a little bit that the challenge is, even though we have subjects especially dedicated to develop those digital skills in the students, the challenge is how to transverse those skills and get say clearly, the instrumental teachers to be the assessors for that. Because if we all know that the instrumental teacher are the role model for most of the performing students or the composition teachers, so if we don't have them with us, this process will be never connected. We can continue with other challenges, but maybe we can react to this.
No, again, it's wonderful to be surrounded by so like-minded people. I plotted 3 years ago something like that that's been rolling 1 year, growing up with a cohort through the bachelor course, which in a way is taking your point as well, Thom, that the really important issue here is to help our students not be fixated by technology, but actually understand themselves better and develop their own individuation as an artist, as to be the center of the development, and to develop the critical thinking, so that then they can decide how they want to relate themselves in that context. Where do they want to place themselves in the changing environment? Who are they, and what is art for them, and what's the analog and the digital, and to manage all of that relationship. So I started this artist development course for second, third, and fourth year bachelors in Madrid, and now we were getting to the fourth year, and it touches upon various things, one of them being that sort of more philosophical individuation and critical thinking, and the fourth year is devoted to precisely that, to bringing that to the reality that is more well, I suppose closest, but I suppose also most important to them, which is the performance. So we have got 6 students that have enrolled, and what they'll have to do is it's like a mini entrepreneurship course. They'll have various sort of mini courses on various digital skills and all sort of other things, like budgets and writing proposals and so on. And then they have to replicate the final recital outside of the school. And the idea is that they are going to use all sorts of various technologies, or the dialogue, at least interdisciplinarity, and technology in those projects, so that the teachers will have to validate that project earlier in the year. So the student will go up to the teacher and will say, okay, so the government says to us, 3 styles, 50 minutes. That's all go. That's everything they tell us. But actually, that gives us enormous amount of freedom to not just program like a succession of pieces, but actually to think about a performance in a much more holistic and rich way. So that's the idea, and absolutely, for them, they are the idols, they are the role models, they are the people that they look up to. And a lot of the time, which I also find, is that you have this impression that the instrumental teachers sometimes are quite reactive or sort of, slow to want to take all of these things. But I have been also chasing some of my professors and realized that they are a lot more daring, a lot more creative when they go out and perform than the students think they are. So to actually bring all of that onto the table and have those discussions, I think it carries great strength and great value. So.
Yeah, I think it is definitely something that I recognise as well, is the balance of engaging, especially one-to-one teachers in this process, because they are often the most influential voice, and we have to acknowledge that. I mean, in terms of sort of expressing my own anxieties, I'm very happy to do that. I think for someone in my position, I'm sure you can imagine that I've never worked harder than in my life than I did in the pandemic. But it was a strangely positive, optimistic time where I spoke and engaged with, probably 400 or 500% more staff, and we had conversations and we had positive experiences, and people talked about, reimagining what they could do online and having to think about their teaching, and perhaps that was the first time they'd really done that. And this was a sort of, okay, all this work, is this worth it? I can work this hard for a few years if it means that this sticks. But unfortunately, my anxieties are that that when we have gone back to normal is not really the case. I don't think that, maybe we're still processing, but collectively we have an idea about what digitally informed or digitally enhanced learning means in a post-pandemic world and what we want to get from it. And I think the key challenge for me is that pre-pandemic, I could appeal to people's curiosity to be involved in something because they didn't know what I was talking about. Unfortunately, now they think they know what I was talking about because they're reflecting their emergency trauma of several years, and that unfortunately, understandably, means that there is reticence. So I think that alongside this kind of what we're talking about, this constant change and refocusing, means that as soon as we get to the point where we might be talking about what these technologies mean, what online learning looks like when you are making a choice, not just reacting, and then suddenly AI comes and pulls the carpet from everyone's attention, and this is somehow yesterday's news and we can sort of park it. Whereas, as I said, you know, your objectives and your values shouldn't change as fast as that technology does, so these things don't go away.
So time is running. I was just sure to check. We have 15 minutes left, is that right? Okay, so and it's a session inside the part of a AEC conference. So of course we prepared a Mentimeter, but I get some information from the office maybe to suggest we skip the Mentimeter to give more possibilities for Q&A, and I want to open the stage now. Are there any questions from the audience?
Hello, I'm Cezar Paul Bădescu from National University of Music, Bucharest. And I wanted to ask Mr. Gilbert, what kind of app or digital platforms do you use in teaching process? Do you use low latency systems in digital process?
Yes. This is a rather current, yes we do. This is a sort of current and slightly bittersweet reality for us and one of our partners, Joachim at the back there. As part of the Global Conservatoire project that we run, Amsterdam, the Conservatoire in Amsterdam, very kindly gave all of our partners these little elk box systems which they had been experimenting with, and we have done Lola connections for some years. I have to say, from my perspective personally, I saw the first one I could when I came into college, and as quite a sort of practical person, I thought, well, this is incredible, but it's taken 15 people half a day and months of sorting this out in advance, so I don't see how this translates to something that I can help students do all the time. But this box, we were testing it last week, and I with no support, took this small interface, plugged a network cable into it, and called our colleagues in Amsterdam, and we were going at, to my mind, perfectly acceptable quality in 10 minutes. The problem is, we rely on companies to continue to support these devices, and unfortunately that company doesn't exist anymore, so it's not an answer. But that for me was the point where I thought, okay, well, this is low latency collaboration at scale. If this box is only €400, we can buy 15 of them for less than the price of this Lola system and put them in all these spaces. So in that sense, the change in technology and how reliant you are on the supportive platforms is complicated. But another reason, I think, where it's important to acknowledge that technology changes and you have to continue to just focus on what it is you're trying to do, not what you're using to do it, if that answers that question. Okay.
But the
you allowed me to intervene, not technically, but here there is a challenge, another challenge, because all those possibilities are between institutions with a huge possibility to connect, but the challenge is also how are we prepared to continue delivering online learning for instrument? And that's also a challenge. Probably most of the institutions for non-instrumental lessons have been developed something, but for instrumental lessons, our experience is those teachers that are coming once every two weeks, they have to teach online the week they are not coming. And they are doing, but they are complaining at all because we didn't succeed to change the way we teach instrument to be able to be taught online. And so the mindset is more challenging than the technical solutions for everything.
Just speaking.
Yeah. One question.
Without the mic, maybe. We keep the mic
Okay.
and we just raise our voice, maybe.
Okay, well, I'm Claudio Locchio, and I'm not from a musical institution, I'm from the technology part. But I also happen to play a keyboard which is white and black keys, so I'm pianist as well. But here I am a technologist. And as Thom said, yes, technologies may be sometimes very complicated to set up in the very beginning. I'm the Lola, so I know very well what you mean. But it evolves now. You can set up Lola in Macintosh in 5 minutes. But I could speak for an hour for all what you said, but there are a couple of messages I want to send you. First of all, be prudent when technology evolves too fast. Very often technology which evolves very fast also disappears very fast. And you cannot go ahead to it. When technology evolves very fast, there is a lot of marketing behind it and not a lot of support for the users. And this is not what we as people supporting education needs to do. You cannot change or have okay, this box is going, then the company has disappeared, what do I do now? So stay with technology which are stable, because your needs are stable. They don't evolve so fast with technology. So choose one or two and follow them. Choose the one which are stable, the one which are developed by stable people and whatever. The other bit of it, you all said we are small. That's very true. In Europe, all the music institutions are small, too small. So there is a problem of scaling that, do you have a person which is dedicated to information technology institution? No. Very often there is none. Is the audio engineer, is somebody else which is trying to do that, but you don't have one. Sometimes you don't have it by law. In Italy, we tried to make a law to say that all conservatoires must have somebody who understands about technology. Still in the air, in somewhere in heaven. Hasn't happened. On the other side, I have experience with your American colleagues where conservatoires do not exist because they are just a department of a university, so they're big. Well, there it is, they have an IT department, but it is the opposite problem. The IT department ignores the music department. They don't believe that the music people need them. Or very often they stop them. What do you want from me? You want to do real time? You don't need real time. You are a musician. So it's even worse in that case because you're fighting against something we do not believe that you need technology. So on that part, is the compromising is halfway. You should find a way to talk to the technologists and also to be able to use the technology which exists around and to be helped by them. I mean, AEC has been doing, for example, a swing project a couple of years ago during the pandemic, where we are trying to help everybody to use technology when it was there. Did it help? Yes. It helped, for example, people how to use a microphone or how to set up a system or how to do a video conference, whatever. But it's still very far away from doing it. So put pressure on the institutions to have technology in there. Because the student knew it, but not enough. I mean, I have a student which is in Trieste. When he entered the music conservatory, I asked him, well, you are typing on the keyboard and on the smartphone, and now you don't understand how to tap on an application? You're right. Come on. I put the right together.
Thank you so much. I think that was more a comment than a question.
Yeah, it was a comment.
Yeah. Okay. but maybe it's a good bridge to come from the present to the future. So we have heard so many perspectives. How do you feel about that when you are thinking about your future as a student?
Okay, in general, I think there is a general good attitude and excitement for that. But apart from the general feel, I think this is also an opportunity. These fast changes to keep checking on the teaching method and to keep like attached and checking on what we are doing. So I think we shouldn't like complain for okay, so we now the thing we are using is obsolete. This is something that makes the environment more lively, and also our professional life more more live and conscious.
Compliant. So, I ask the speakers instead of the audience, what is your next steps when you get back in your institutions next week?
No, in our case, the way back is we have ICT people working, but they are reacting. So the first step is to put academic and non-academic staff all together. That's something I learned from Manchester. Academic and non-academic together. Academic in technology department with pedagogical department and instrumental department together with the non-academics, and don't use ICT people as problem-solving people, but to put at the beginning of all the process design. For us, this is the next step.
Yeah, very similar. For us, as I said, we've been including all of these new technologies from the outside, and now the time, after having had this program running, this artist development program running for 3 years, the time comes when actually we are going to start tinkering with the pedagogy and with the use of generative AI, which was a topic for discussion last evening, and developing policies on that, which we still don't have. And in a way, that is our next step.
So, once we've finished our AEC project work, my focuses will be, addressing AI, or trying my best to. Some of that work I'm really looking forward to. So, working with teachers to evaluate their assessments in this context, and to think about how they can change. Some of it I'm really not looking forward to, i.e. testing detection softwares and things like that, which I fundamentally have no faith in at all, but I've got to do it. So there we go. We will try to do more, to re-establish more low latency work in that new context. And I think that's the immediate things, I think. Yes, and we have a lot of clearing up to do. So lots of technologies that have been put in post-pandemic, these sorts of things, and dealing with data, everybody's favourite job. So those sorts of things. Yeah.
Martina, what is your next step when you get back?
Well, as a part of the academic board, for sure, to put that on the table of discussion, also in my institution, and yes, to ask to concretely. Because I mean, as a student representative, I have to bring the needs of the students, but also the things that they need for their curricula and for their professional profile. And I think that this is something really that they really need. So it is important to make a shift about it. So it will be talking about that, both with students than with teachers. because this has to be a common voice that asks that.
I think that's a wonderful result. When we talk about a digital shift, that means we have to look on to bring people together, to talk about the different perspectives, to get more in the perspective of compiling the competences needed in a digital shift, so on. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us here. Thank you for the speakers. It's wonderful to be having you here. And a great thanks to Alessandra, who organized so much in the background, and without her we would be nothing. So have a nice coffee break. See you soon.